Hey everyone, Golden Ninja 3000 here again. Today I'm reviewing LEGO Lord of the Rings set number 10316 Rivendell. This is the largest Lord of the Rings set ever made with 6,167 pieces, and it's also the 7th or 8th biggest LEGO set of all time. I'm not going to be doing any more LEGO reviews on this channel, so I figured I would go out with a bang and really show this one off. It's got 15 minifigures, it retails for $500 US, and in my opinion, this is absolutely, without a doubt, one of the best LEGO sets of all time. We're going to take a look at the Hobbit minifigures first, and I wanted to start with Bilbo because Lord of the Rings wouldn't have happened without him. The Hobbit minifigures are updated for 2023 with dual molded short legs to represent their bare feet, and this is actually the first time we're ever getting an old Bilbo minifigure. I think he looks great. I love the inclusion of his cane, and that regular face print is pretty good. But what's even more exciting is his alternate face print, because it's his screaming face when he doesn't want Frodo to take the ring away from him. And that is a wonderful addition, and it's a really, really creepy expression. Here is the ring bearer himself, Frodo Baggins. The minifigure does look similar to the one that we got in 2012, but of course it's updated to today's modern standards. I love the short dark green cape, and that is the same exact hair mold from 2012, although I'm sure it has a new part number, because, again, the mold must have been out of production for many years. We do have the same ring, though, and that did come in many other sets. I'm kind of glad that those two pieces weren't updated, because it does really give that kind of classic LEGO Lord of the Rings feeling. And I will be doing a full comparison of all of the new minifigures with their 2012 and 2013 counterparts in a separate video. Frodo does have an alternate face as well. I don't know why I keep taking off the hair pieces on the regular faces, but that, I think, is when he gets stabbed with the Witch King's blade on Weathertop, so a pretty fitting inclusion since Rivendell is where he recuperated, and he does have some back printing as well. And as you can see, the short capes are the starchy style. We don't have, or actually we only have one of the newer spongy style capes in this set, but again, I kind of like the starchy capes because they're harder to pose and they're easier to crinkle, but again, it's just a kind of classic feeling that they give me. Next up is Frodo's best friend, Samwise Gamgee. He looks pretty good as well, although I don't love the hair color here. They switched his hair color with Merry's from the 2012 set, and I think that this color is just too bright for Sam. I really like his sand blue cape though, I like his frying pan, and he also gets an alternate face, which isn't quite as expressive as the 2012 version, but again, we'll talk about that more in that comparison video. He also comes with a bit of back printing, but yeah, overall this figure is pretty good. I just wish that he had a lighter hair color. Next up is Pippin. I love his torso print. I think that it looks fantastic, and I do like his hair color as well. You do get 4 colors of that Hobbit hair in this set, and he's holding a piece of lembas bread, which is just a 1x1 tile, but I like how LEGO has placed it on one of those dark green leaves, which I think might be new in that color, or at least rare, because of course in the books and in the movies, the bread comes wrapped in a leaf. He does have an alternate face as well, all the Hobbits do. It is a little bit worried, and that does look pretty decent, and then he does have a little bit of back printing as well. And finally, here's Merry. I do like his torso print a lot too. I think that it's got some really nice fine detailing on it. And all of these guys do just have dark brown short legs that are dual molded for the bare feet. He is holding a deconstructed carrot, which is kind of funny, and I like his regular expression. Again, this is the hair color that was used on Sam in the original 2012 sets, and I also really like that alternate face, and he also comes with some back printing. Moving on to the 2 dwarves in this set, first up we have Gimli, who looks absolutely fantastic. This minifigure is basically perfect. He has medium legs so that the dwarves are taller than the hobbits but shorter than the elves, which I really, really love that LEGO managed to do. And he has a brand new mold for his beard, his helmet, and for those axes he's carrying. LEGO really went all out with this set. There's so many new molds, and I'm really impressed that the helmet is a new mold, because once again, I'm going to say watch out for that comparison, because you'll be able to see the differences more clearly. But I thought this was the same helmet and beard. It's not. This helmet is actually smaller than the last one, and it has printed details instead of molded at the back. Another thing that's really cool is that you can remove his helmet, and then LEGO actually gives you a hair piece, because this newer beard is smaller, and that means that the hair can fit over the back of the beard. Or, yeah, that's what I was trying to say. That is a fantastic look. I'm really glad that LEGO included alternate hair pieces, because that's something that they don't always do, but it just makes the figure so much better when they go that extra mile. And here's a quick look at his torso print without the beard, which is pretty good, but it just seems a little bit flat to me, like it's lacking a bit of depth. And then he does come with back printing as well, which I think was unnecessary because it's unnecessary to get such intricate back printing because it's always going to be covered up, but it does look really good. Gimli's father, Gloin, is a minifigure that I think was totally unnecessary, but he's a wonderful inclusion. He did go on the adventure to Erebor with Bilbo in The Hobbit, and of course he was in this scene in the movie. I don't think LEGO needed to throw him in this set, but that's just why this set is so awesome. It's giving us characters like this and old Bilbo that we don't really need, but that really finish off the scene. His torso is just a reused print from Jurassic World, but he is using that new beard piece in white. And again, it's really nice to get two colors of that piece in this set. Gandalf the Grey was a very necessary minifigure, and he looks so perfect. I'm really happy with this figure. He has a dress piece, unlike the last Gandalf that we got in 2012, 2013. He is using the same old classic wizard's hat piece, which works perfectly, and that beard piece is the one that was developed just for him back in 2012, right? I think is when we got our first Gandalf minifigure. I'm not 100% sure on when exactly the original Lord of the Rings figures came out, because the theme did run for a couple of years, but I'm pretty sure this guy first came in 2012, so it's been 11 years. He does have incredible back printing, even on the back of his dress. That is so deluxe, and it's so wonderful to see that attention to detail across the board in this set. There's a quick look at his torso print. He is the only character in this set with a spongy cape, and it is just a one-hole cape, so that just fits right over his neck. And then I'm going to go ahead and pop his beard on just so that you can see a better look at his face. I'm not sure if that print is new or not, but even if it's not new, it still looks fantastic. And the reason I'm showing you all of this is because he also comes with a hairpiece. And yeah, I know his face print is misaligned, but that's a really nice inclusion. Again, just like Gimli. Not something that LEGO always does, but when they do, it's really appreciated. Next up is Aragorn, who isn't in his travel outfit for the Fellowship of the Ring. I think all the other minifigures are in the outfits they wear on the journey, but this is Aragorn's special Rivendell outfit. It looks fantastic. I love the torso print. I really like the leg print. He is wielding a brand new sword that did come as part of that weapons pack with Gimli's axes, and I think it looks excellent. I also really like his face print, and he's using the same hairpiece from 2012, which is totally fine because it's perfect. There's no reason to change it. He also comes with a really nice alternate face, and honestly, I'm just really impressed with the graphic design work on this figure in general. And our last human character is Boromir, who I think also looks fantastic. Same hairpiece as 2012, but a wonderful face print. Again, I really like the graphic design work on his face and Aragorn's face in particular. The torso and leg print is fantastic. He also has a brand new shield print, which looks way better than the last one. Again, I'll show you them side by side in the minifigure comparison video. And he also has a new sword mold. I don't love this sword mold. I think it is accurate to the movie. It's a shorter, heavier blade, but personally, I just don't like the look of heavier swords. So I don't know, this one's just too wide for me. I really like the thinner ones, like the one that Aragorn was wielding. He does have a traditional starchy cape. He has an alternate face, and he also comes with some back printing. Moving on to the elves, we're going to start with Legolas because he is the only elf in this set that doesn't originate from Rivendell. Of course, he's from Mirkwood. I love the torso and leg printing. I mean, I feel like I sound like a broken record, but these minifigures are just really good. I like the shine on the torso, and the legs are dual molded, which makes them look absolutely perfect. Don't love the face print. That's just reused from young Han Solo. It works well enough for Legolas, but there are so many new face prints. I just wish that he got one too. He is using the same old bow mold, and then he does have the new elven hair mold, but I'm going to talk about that more with some of the other figures. You do get it in two colors in this set though. LEGO's really giving us a lot of colors because you get it in yellow and dark brown, but there's a look at his back printing, which again is really good considering that it's going to be covered up for most of the time. Our first Rivendell elf is Arwen, and she looks good for the most part. I love her torso and dress print. They are fantastic. Again, broken record, but holy cow. She has her pendant on, and the design on that is just perfect. I love the glimmering silver, and I mean, she just really looks the part. She is using the new hair mold in dark brown, and as you can see, it goes over their shoulders and then behind them. And I think that it just looks really good. You know, you do have the ears. They are not painted. They are dual molded. So it's always going to be a really crisp and clean look. And that's something that I really appreciate. You do have the classic braid at the back, which again is just amazing. And this piece is not hard plastic, it is a rubber, but I'm going to go ahead and take it off so that you can see her alternate face. And again, she also comes with back dress printing. That is completely unnecessary, and I love that LEGO included it. Even the back torso print is unnecessary, but it looks so good. I love it when LEGO prints these dresses fully. What I don't love about this figure is the face. The face on her is awful. I don't think it looks anything like Liv Tyler. I don't think it looks ethereal and like ethereally beautiful, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I mean, I wish it had cheekbones. I wish that, I don't know, it's too plain to me. It's not elven enough. And so that's just what I really don't like about it. And I almost forgot to show you guys her accessory, but she is just holding a plain black book. Inside, you do have a printed page from Harry Potter. That's nothing special, but again, it's nice to see a print in there instead of just a plain tile. Our final named character is Elrond, the Lord of Rivendell, and he looks perfect. Oh my god. Again, torso and leg prints. Amazing. The way that they even line up from the torso to the dress, LEGO sometimes doesn't get that exactly right, but on this figure, it is perfect. And I really love, we have a version of Elrond like this from 2013, and I really love that figure. But again, this one is just a huge step up. I really like his face print. He does have that little like elven crown printed on the front. It was molded in 2013, and I haven't like looked at my figures side by side together yet, so I don't know which one I prefer yet. But his face print, it does have the cheekbones, and that's why I really think that little details like that are missing from Arwen. But yeah, other than that, same hairpiece as Arwen. No printing on the back of his dress. I would have liked to have seen that just because Gandalf and Arwen get printing, so I would have really liked to see printing for Elrond, but he does have a really cool alternate face. And then we do get 2 random elf characters in this set as well, which I was not expecting, but it's really nice of LEGO to do it. I keep saying the same stuff, but it's just so true. It's really cool to just get random citizens to populate Rivendell, even if it's just 2 of them. I really like the torso print. It has like a really great silver like kind of chainmail look, and the belt is cool as well. I also just like sand green in general. Once again, I don't like the face. I am not expecting LEGO to make new face prints for random characters, but these faces just don't seem to fit the elves, like this one and like the one for Arwen. The one for Legolas is even okay because it still has like cheekbones, but personally I think that like this looks kind of like a 14-year-old's face, and so then when you put it on an elf, I feel like it ruins the vibe. But one thing I forgot to show you guys earlier was the inside of this elven hairpiece, and yeah, you can just see how crazy the dual molding on that is. And here's our last minifigure, another random elf. Love the dress print because it really lines up with the torso print, but the torso doesn't feel incomplete without it, as we saw on that minifigure with unprinted legs. So I'm a big fan of that. I think that this face does work for elves. I think it looks enough like an elf, and I'm glad that we get a second yellow hairpiece so that Legolas isn't alone with his. And once again, printing on the back of the dress for an unnamed character. Look at how nice that is. The detail, the care, the budget, the attention, everything is just off the charts in this set, and we're just going to keep talking about that more and more as I get into the build. But it also makes Elrond stick out more because he should really have that same level of detail since it's his town that this set is based on. The alternate face is decent, but yeah, I definitely like the front face better. And lastly, on the subject of attention to detail, you may notice that some characters in this set can't sit, even though they're supposed to be at the Council of Elrond. We have people in dresses. We have people with short legs. So what does LEGO do? They give you builds, separate builds with printed pieces for the dresses to make it look like the characters are sitting down. So you get one for Elrond, you get one for Gandalf, and then for the hobbits, you know, LEGO can't make bendable short legs. They've got the medium legs, but you need the height difference between hobbits and dwarves. So they give you headlight bricks with little 1x1 tiles or plates on the bottom. So you get 2 for for Frodo, and then you get 2 for Bilbo. So I'm going to go ahead and put those on the figure so that you guys can see how that looks. Unfortunately, Elrond and Gandalf can't really sit up on empty air, so we're going to get back to them in just one second, but the hobbits look perfect. This is such a clever technique, and I honestly can't believe LEGO's never done it before. I really hope that we start seeing this in more sets so that minifigures with short legs can actually sit down. Like, this is just a genius, in my opinion. And for Elrond and Gandalf, I'm really glad that those are prints. I fully expected them to be stickers, but I'm really happy that they're not. And I actually did pull... Sorry, Gandalf, get out of the way. I did pull Elrond's chair out of the larger council scene so that I can demonstrate how these guys sit in the chair. So there we go. That is how it works. He fits in there perfectly. And honestly, that looks really, really good. I'm very happy with it. And here is what Gandalf's sitting pose looks like. And again, that's just a really innovative way to make these characters with non-movable legs sit down. As you guys can clearly see, the build for this set is beautiful. And I'm going to tell you guys right off the bat, the reason why this feels so much cooler than other LEGO sets is because it truly feels like a mock. Like while building it and then with the finished product, it just feels like a custom build. It doesn't feel like something that LEGO would ever actually release, and yet they did. There are too many details in this set that I can't capture from far away, so I am going handheld for a moment. On the left side, we have this beautiful tower, and we are going to take a closer look at all of these things individually. In the center, we do have the main Council of Elrond scene, and that is detachable. Then we have this beautiful tiled roof, which again is one of the parts that really feel like a mock. Doing that whole roof probably took me almost 2 hours, but it was definitely worth it. We have a bunch of different styles of tree. We have this big one in the center. Then we have this weird style one. Like, I don't even know what to call that because I don't know what kind of trees these are. We have this little pavilion, which is, again, just a really, really nice little separate assembly that's plugged into the main build. Then we have a beautiful bridge that you can pose minifigures across, a little river, and then finally the gazebo where Aragorn and Arwen meet, and then 2 more different styles of tree. Oh, and also there's a little armory all the way in the corner. This thing is nearly impossible to turn around on camera, so here's a quick look at the left side, starting with the entryway all the way up to the roof and then the tower. The right side of the build is very natural, and it really drives home just how wide this set is because it completely changes the perspective of the build. And yes, there is a full interior to this set, packed to the brim with detailed LEGO parts and references to the movies. There's even more than you can see right now. But as you can see, it's pretty hard to maneuver this set when it's fully assembled. So luckily, LEGO split it into 3 pieces for ease of building and ease of transport when you're displaying this. So you can split the tower off to the left, and then you can split the armory off to the right, and then you just have 3 large sections of Rivendell that you can rearrange and transport at your leisure. We're going to start with the tower because that is what you build first. It's pretty tall, so unfortunately I'm not going to be able to fit all of it in frame, but it is the smallest section in terms of like width. You know, it's just a narrow little slice of Rivendell, and it's pretty cool. This I can turn around in full, and you can already start to see some of those interior details. So let's go ahead and take a closer look, starting with the exterior. The entryway into this building of Rivendell is extremely majestic. I love these curved pillars that LEGO included. There's so many archways in this set, and they're all built using different pieces, and they're all so gosh darn beautiful. Like, I'm just obsessed with them. We do have this style of railing using these telescope pieces and sand green plates that you'll see repeated throughout the set, but these archways are only found in this entrance, and they're made using like pieces that are usually used for dragon tails and stuff like that. And again, it's perfect. It looks so good, and I really like the little diamond of that brick. Usually the bottom of studs, like anti-studs, they aren't nice to look at, but in this case, it really, really works. And you do have some steps leading into the interior. We have a bunch of foliage scattered all around Rivendell. Like I said, I believe that this 3-leaf piece is new in dark green, or at least really rare. And what is new are these fern pieces that you'll see scattered throughout Rivendell. That's a brand new mold debuting in this set for the very first time. They can fit inside some archways, and they are really interesting pieces. Unfortunately, none of these can be pulled off easily, but once we get to some, I will show them to you in greater detail. But of course, one of the coolest things about this tower are the carved elven statues at the base. Technically, because of these statues, you have 21 minifigures in this set, because you have 5 in the base of the tower and then another one hidden in the main build. I do really like these pieces. They just have these hair pieces recolored into gray. They don't have elf ears on them, but I mean, that's not a big deal. I still think that they look great. They do have the same torso print and the same face print, and there is an alternate sterner looking face that you'll see on that 6th statue. And they alternate between dress pieces and then leg pieces. And I think that, again, the alternating nature of them works really well. It is really finicky to line up everything in the build here. Like, I really feel like it might not be perfect the way that I got it, but I couldn't fiddle with it anymore because I would have just gone insane. And yeah, the effect definitely works, but it's techniques like this that make me say that this feels like a mock, you know? There's so many things that I haven't seen in official LEGO sets before, just in terms of how delicate they are and how, like, precise they have to be. And again, that's not something that I disliked, but it's just something that gave me a little bit of anxiety when you want everything to be as perfectly lined up as possible. Pretty much the only play feature in the entire set is found down here at the base, where you can rotate this little leaf out of the way, and then you have a little hobbit hidey hole. I don't remember who was hiding and spying on the council during the movie. I think it was just all three of the hobbits, but you can fit one in there or just have them skulking around the outside. So I think that that's a pretty awesome feature. Although, as you can see, it's a little bit difficult because the fern pieces stop this leaf from actually swiveling all the way out of the way. The rest of the tower is assembled in a really beautiful manner as well. You have the pre-molded arched windows and then windows created using a 1x3 arch. Lots of those masonry bricks are scattered around the set as well. And I really like the detailing that the designer built up here. Like, this is very simple, but it's just good looking stonework. And these sand green, like, curved pieces on top are just even better. You can actually remove the whole roof section of this tower. Okay, yeah, sorry, I was not pulling it off in the wrong spot, but you can actually remove that. And again, we're going to take a closer look at the interior in just a second, but I just want to finish talking about the tower first. The top of the tower is built in a really interesting manner with a whole bunch of interlocking slopes. Again, a little bit anxiety inducing just because I don't want like all the pieces slanted into each other, but it looks really good. And again, it's just another unique technique to create that carved stonework that you associate with the elves. We have arches created using mudguard pieces up here, and then these roof pieces, again, were a little bit of a finicky build, but they look great. And inside, you could probably fit like a single minifigure, but it's kind of hard to get in there because there's no other like removable area of the tower. This is kind of all you get. But I mean, even like this round section was built in a really interesting manner, and I really just enjoyed putting this entire like tower rooftop together. And with that part of the tower removed, you can see more of the gorgeous diamond tiling. We'll talk about it a little bit more on the main build, but you do have a couple different colors and they all, again, they just look beautiful. There is a pattern that can be seen, like a little kind of zigzag diamond shaped thing. But I mean, while building it, it's kind of a mind trip because you can see the rows or you can see the pattern, and it was just really, really interesting. And I really like how they finish off the side, because again, I think that these kind of just decorative, like scrolly, like curved pieces look wonderful. The only unsightly part is that brown Technic pin, which honestly, I kind of wish that they had covered up, because they did cover up a similar thing on the main building. But hey, it's not a big deal. And you do have these really thin, delicate pillars that look like they're supporting the roof, but they aren't actually offering any structural support whatsoever. Getting into the interior, on the ground floor, we have a beautiful little library. It's just one bookshelf, but it's built really nicely with more of those like decorative scroll pieces that you can see in white throughout the rest of the set. You do have a little table, I guess. I don't really know if this is a table or like a little like lounging cushion. It might be a lounging cushion because we have another one of these builds in the gazebo, but you can just lift this up. It's just secured using a transparent cylinder. And then that gives you a good look at that nice tiled carpet or something. I don't really know what it's supposed to be, but I'm guessing it's a carpet because there's no other decoration on the floor in this set. And then we do have some nice candelabras at the back, not in the corner. Those also look really good, and you'll see similar builds scattered throughout the rest of the set. The upper level has a ton more detail though. This is Frodo's bedroom where he recuperates after being stabbed. You have another similar candle build in the corner. You have a really nice bed with a little cushion at the foot for Gandalf to sit on. Those are stickers making up the bedspread, but they look great, and the bed itself is a really cool build. That's another sticker for the headboard, but again, great graphic design. I really, really like how that looks. That little chest at the back is actually hiding some pretty important items. If you open it up, you'll see Frodo's mithril shirt gifted to him by Bilbo. That is unfortunately just a sticker on a tile. It's a shame when we got so many other cool prints, but I mean, it's still a great inclusion. And then we also have Sting, which is a brand new mold from that same weapons pack. And it now has a textured hilt, and it's got a thinner, more delicate blade than the last Sting mold from 2012. So that is a really, really great upgrade. And again, I'm really happy to see a custom mold for Sting. And then all the way at the back, we do have a little chair for Bilbo because this is actually his writing desk. That desk is not removable. Most of the furniture items in here are like removable. You know, it's not hard to pick up a chair like that, but this actually provides structural support to the tower. So it's fully built in. That was pretty interesting to discover while I was building. He is writing The Hobbit in there. You can see that the book says there and back again. And it actually does have a stickered cover as well. I'm going to see if I can just flip it closed because it is kind of hard to get out of there. But yeah, it does have a stickered cover. Unfortunately, it's not red. It is red in the movies. I feel like LEGO could have made a red book, but I mean, maybe that piece has never been made in red before, so they didn't want to spend the money on it, which is fine. They spent a lot of money on this set in other areas. And then with that kind of top-down view, you can see he does have a quill, and there are a couple of torches in there as well. And that's why the roof of the tower is removable, just so that you can position Bilbo at that desk. And finally, the last bit of interior detail is one of the coolest things in the entire set. This is a mural depicting the defeat of Sauron, with Isildur taking up his father's broken sword, about to cut the ring off of Sauron's hand. This is a really, really cool stickered piece. Unfortunately, it is a sticker, it's not a print, but I mean, again, graphic design work is perfect in every aspect of this set. I will keep saying that. And I really like the frame. We've got some teal, we have the nougat color, even some drum lacquered gold, and Sauron looks sick. I really, really hope we get a minifigure version of him very soon. And I mean, the only other detail is that at the very top of the mural, you do have this nice decorative artwork, or not artwork, just like wall work, I guess, wall decoration. It looks nice. And then you also have, like, I guess I didn't mention this before, but you just have this little like side wall decoration. I don't know what to call these things. They're just pretty. Moving on to the central section of the build, once again, it's a little bit too tall for me to capture in its entirety, but you're only really missing the top of that tree and the top of that tower when I have it in this position. And this whole thing just looks excellent. I'm really, really happy with this, and this is probably definitely my favorite area of the set. There is so much going on here, from all of the exterior details to, of course, the interior detail. You can already start to see some of it, but yeah, this thing is just, it's packed full of stuff. It might not seem like it's very dense at first because the entire building is very open and airy, but trust me, this thing is very structurally sound, and there was a ton of building that went into it. So once again, starting with the exterior. Here is a better look at those fern pieces. I'm just going to pull one of these off the little rod that it's stuck on. These are really interesting new parts. I don't know if they were developed specifically for this set or if LEGO was just working on them and then threw it into Rivendell first, but you do get something like over 30 of these pieces. I want to say there's 36 or 38 of them in the set, but I'm not 100% sure. And they are beautiful. You know, I thought that the angle was a little bit extreme, but they really look good when they're bunched up together. And the foliage all around this thing looks awesome. You do have some fallen yellow leaves from that tree in the center, which, again, very nice attention to detail. You've got the tree roots peeking out from under this little bridge. You've got more tree roots, like, stemming right from the tree itself around the council section, which we will take a closer look at. That chair is a little bit out of alignment. I really like this bridge. It's just over land. It's not over water like the other one, but hey, 2 bridges. I will never complain about that because bridges are a huge part of Rivendell. And this bridge leads from the council area to the little pavilion, which will then connect to the other bridge over the river. So that's a lot of, you know, walking space for minifigures. And there's actually some really cool details in here that I didn't expect. Like, if you go up into the pavilion, you've got steps to the back, which I wasn't expecting. And you've even got a whole staircase up to the 2nd floor of the building, which that's not something that I knew about before I actually built this set myself. Since we ended up at the pavilion, I guess we'll just take a look at that first. There's some really nice, again, decorative work up here with some white doves and then a minifigure trophy, like a nanofig. Sorry, that's the word I was looking for. Although it is a trophy as well. You've got elephant tusks used as, again, archways, which is another different technique that looks really nice, and more thin pillars created using candlesticks. The way that all of these thin pillars are built is super interesting because, again, these really can't support a lot of structure, which is why there's a bunch of finagling with bricks and angled parts, and putting this whole thing together was super delicate. I was afraid it was going to collapse under me at any point, but it didn't, and it looks fantastic. We've got more mudguard arches in the center. Oh, and inside the pavilion, we do have a little table with 2 more pieces of lembas bread. This entire thing is built on its own using about 2 bags worth of parts, well, 2 big bags and a couple smaller bags, and then it's just set at an angle on a turntable, and it's really strong. It works super well. Again, another thing that I was shocked and impressed by. It doesn't connect directly to the council area because of that big tree, but you can see some mushrooms down there in the corner. But like I said, it is accessible like through to the main building and then actually around the back as well. And it does have the same roof tiling as the rest of the set, although in a little bit of a more delicate pattern. It looks fantastic, and it did not take as long as the really big roof did. Smack in the middle of Rivendell, we do have the Council of Elrond, which is where they determined who was going to carry the ring around. That is an extra ring. Actually, you get 2 of them in the set, so I've got Frodo holding one and then one hanging out in the middle here. And these are printed pieces that make up that base. That is really, really awesome. Like, I was not expecting so many prints in this set, and that's a beautiful star pattern, and you will see those prints used in another area of the set as well. Elrond has a very regal, throne-like chair. I love the little splashes of teal. I really think they pop against Rivendell's other colors. And then the rest of the chairs, only 3 of them are attached with studs, and the rest of them are just angled around this section. But they're built ingeniously, using popsicle sticks as the seat backs, and then sausages for the armrests. The chairs were a little bit fiddly to put together, but honestly, I was expecting them to be a little bit worse, and they look fantastic when done. Here's a little bit of a closer look at them, and I'm just going to grab Frodo so I can demonstrate how he can sit in the chair. His cape will get a little bit crinkled, so I mean, I wouldn't leave him in there for long, but it's nice that LEGO found a way to make these guys sit. And behind Elrond's chair, we do have this huge tree. Now, I really like some parts of the tree. Like, I love the really thick roots that it's got growing out of the trunk, and I mean the smaller roots that are scattered all around. I like the colors of the foliage. You know, we've got bright green, regular green, lime green, or no, sorry, no regular green, but we have bright green, lime green. We have the flame yellowish orange color, a regular yellow color, and all of that looks awesome. But the thing is just so fiddly and delicate. Like, do you see how much it's shaking? Unfortunately, it is my least favorite of the tree builds in this set, and this is what you finish building the set with. You finish off with the Council of Elrond and with this tree specifically, so it was kind of disappointing to like have this be the end of the build, because the rest of the build was so awesome, and this is just so like, you know, like these pieces holding the branches can really like fall out of alignment super easily. It's hard to get everything to fit, and then once you plop this into the center, it's like even harder. So I don't know, I'm not a fan of it. I don't like how loose everything is moving, and again, that's an area that makes it feel more like a mock than an official set, but this is the one area of the set that I don't like that in. You know, I'm okay with like kind of looser techniques being used in other places, but with this tree, I just wasn't really happy with how it turned out. But I did say that you can plop the Council of Elrond into the middle of this set, and that is true. You can just remove the entire council section. If you just grab the tree, this whole thing separates out and just comes out. And that is because you can display it separately. So we'll take a closer look at that in 1 second. But first, I want to show you what happens when you remove it. You do indeed have a little Easter egg with the Eye of Sauron being left in the gap. That's a reference to when Gimli hits the One Ring with his axe, and then the Eye of Sauron like briefly flashes in people's minds. That's a function that LEGO integrated into the last Council of Elrond set, which I will be showing you guys in a separate comparison video, but I love that they included it as a brick-built Easter egg. Here's the separated out Council of Elrond. It's a cute little standalone display piece, I guess. I mean, like, if you don't have room and you need to dismantle the rest of Rivendell, at least you could just kind of take this out and display it on its own. But I mean, unless you're dismantling the rest of Rivendell, I don't really know why you would take it out. It doesn't leave a particularly attractive looking gap behind in the main build. And I don't know, I mean, the rest of the build is kind of more impressive than just this area. Like, it's a really nice area, but I mean, I think we would rather have the full effect with the entire building. But once again, it's just nice that the LEGO designers thought of this. You know, it is a great option because one day I'm sure I'll have to dismantle Rivendell, and when that time comes, this is probably a section that I would keep assembled. With the council section removed, you can really get the full visual impact of the building, and that's what I want to talk about now. Let's talk about these pillars. I was really worried about building these. I thought that they would just be a nightmare to assemble. They surprisingly weren't. Yeah, some of the angles are a little bit tricky, but it goes together fairly well, at least a lot better than I was expecting. And again, the finished effect is just absolutely gorgeous. I love these scroll pieces. They were developed for LEGO Elves in 2017, as the instruction manual will tell you, but they work so well in the Lord of the Rings theme. I'm really impressed by how LEGO continues to find great uses for that part. We also have more decoration built using elephant tusk and cow horn pieces. We even have cupcake holders used to top off these pillars. And again, that's wonderful. I think the little splashes of this aqua color really work and help accentuate the white and the sand green. And it's a very beautiful effect once everything is lined up like it is here. And now let's talk about the roof, because yeah, the roof is a little bit of a pain to build. It is so worth it, of course. It's absolutely gorgeous when it's finished, but this entire stretch of roof took me over an hour. Like, not that much over an hour, like probably an hour and 15 minutes, but it is insane. Luckily, there is a way to just align all of these tiles quickly and easily. Like, you can put them on kind of haphazardly and then just take a long plate and run them through the rows. That is a technique that the instructions shows you as well, which I was, again, impressed by, because that's something that LEGO fans would know about, but it's nice that they're reminding, non-LEGO fans how to get these tiles looking good in as short a time as possible. And once again, you can see the pattern. So you've got like these little nougat diamonds, you do have like kind of zigzags, and you have larger diamonds made of the tan pieces. It looks so good when it's finished. And again, this is the kind of technique I would expect to see from a mock, laying down hundreds of tiny little 1x1 tiles to get this effect on a roof. It's just a really, really good way of making a really pretty roof. Like, I don't know. It's definitely worth the time. There's no other way LEGO could have a roof look this good, unless they wanted to use a bunch of tiles and print it. There's no way to have a roof looking this good with less of a time commitment, and I definitely prefer brick building to just printed tiles. And the last exterior details to discuss are this tree and the top of that tower. This tree, like I said, is built in a very interesting manner, unlike anything I've ever seen from a LEGO tree before. All of these leaves are kind of just clipped onto the side and then folded up, and it creates this really, really cool looking thing. I don't know, again, what type of tree it's supposed to be, but I love the difference in color, how it goes from lime green with the sand green back, then down to bright green and regular green. And the build was actually pretty fun, and I think it looks great when it's finished because it is so different from the other LEGO trees we've seen before. And actually, I wonder if these pieces should be fanned out a little bit more to give a little bit of a more consistent look, but I don't know. I don't really like that. So yeah, it's just, again, it's the kind of tree I would expect to see in a mock and not in an official set. Although I think there might have been something similar in one of the Chinese New Year sets from 2022, from the Ice Festival one. We do have the same finishing detail to the roof edge that, again, does cover up a connection point, unlike the one on the tower. And this little tower top, it's cute. There's nothing really to see. Like, there's no room for a minifigure inside. I mean, maybe you could try to cram one in there if you broke the roof, but it's just kind of a smaller version of what we saw on the bigger tower. And I guess I could briefly discuss this. The way they finish off the roof of Rivendell is really nice, using these like 2x6 pieces with the hole in them. That looks fantastic. The sand green is a very clean look. And yeah, most of Rivendell has a very studless appearance, but that doesn't mean that there are no studs. There's actually a pretty good balance of smooth and studded surfaces, but I just like how smoothly the top of the roof is finished. This area at the back is actually where the steps from the pavilion lead. You do have another really small tree, which I think looks adorable. And you can see that the larger tree is actually built straight into the side. Oh, sorry, you couldn't see all of it. But yeah, the bigger tree is built straight into the side of the Rivendell building. And you do have a cute little bench here for Bilbo to sit if he doesn't fall off of it. But yeah, that's a pretty big bench, actually. And you do have some more archways down at the bottom. And I do want to talk about the staircase here. That is really cool. Again, that's a feature that I didn't know about until I bought the set. And it does have a little railing, and it is built up properly, not using one of those pre-made staircase pieces. And there is like a telescope or something. I'm not sure exactly what that's supposed to be in the corner, but it's a really nice build and another great detail. And finally, coming to the ground floor of this building, there is so much to see. So first of all, you can see the steps leading down into here. You also have this really nice little area with a map and like a writing desk. Let me see if I can get a closer look at that. I might just try zooming in, but that is a really, really nice stickered piece. Wish it was a print, but hey, there are not too many stickers in this set, so I do appreciate that. And I think that it just looks great. There's also a quill and a little stool. And you might notice that there are a ton of printed pieces scattering the floor. There's like 60 of these tiles, and they just look absolutely gorgeous. I'm really, really happy with how they look overall. And then this is more of that star-shaped design that you could see in the Council of Elrond section. There are some thick stone pillars supporting the main entryway, and coupled with the tile floor, all of the arches just look amazing. Like, the tiled floor really, really sings. It's just beautiful. It's one of like the prettiest things I feel like I've ever seen in a LEGO set. And again, these are all exclusive brand new prints in a $500 set that already has a bunch of new molds, 15 minifigures. I'm really, really impressed with the attention to detail. I can't state that enough. You do have some removable desks in the corner as well, This one has another map. I forgot to mention, but on that other map in the other room, like this desk is not easily removable, but this map is kind of cool because it shows Orthanc and Barad-dûr on it, and I'm sure other important locations. We've got a bunch more candles, as you can see in the background. We do have other smaller tables, and then there is another writing desk, but I'm actually just gonna pivot this around. There is a big candelabra in this window, which is very nice. And then that other writing desk, which I don't want to pull out because it's really hard to get back in, but I can't really zoom in on it either. Here, there we go. Look at me focusing on things that are far away. That does have Barad-dûr on it as well, and that is a really, really nice sticker. And speaking of nice stickers, we do have another mural hidden on the side of the building here. This is Celebrimbor forging the Rings of Power, and that looks wonderful. That's a scene that we just saw in the Rings of Power TV show, and obviously this is based on like existing mural artwork that I think someone had made for the Lord of the Rings movies that was eventually like cut out. But that's awesome. Like, I love that. I love that design. Again, it's so perfect. And seeing important Lord of the Rings history moments like this depicted in Lego, it's just really, really cute. And I also really like this built up entryway on the side. And I guess I'll just touch on this here, but this is actually one of the only things I don't like about the build of this set is how plain the tower base is compared to the rest of the building. The entire building is beautifully tiled over, except for the library. And when you have the sections connecting to each other like this, it's a jarring difference. Like, it just looks so odd next to each other, having the beautiful tiling and then just plain studs. And honestly, I wish that Lego had just fully tiled over this section as well. But the last bits of interior detailing are all the way at the top, where you do have a very narrow walkway, but there are some more murals. So over here, I believe this is supposed to be Eregion, the place where the rings were forged. In my reveal video, I thought it was Minas Tirith, but then someone corrected me. And then this is a ship. I don't know if it's supposed to be a Numenorian ship, but I really, really like just this picture. I love both of these pieces. Like, they're pretty big because they're on 3x3 tiles, but they're not overly large like the Sauron mural, which isn't overly large, but you know what I mean. Like, they're not massive. I really like all of the archways. Again, just beautiful elven architecture all around. And in the center, we have the most important artifact in Rivendell. These are the shards of Narsil. They are what was used to defeat Sauron, again, with Isildur taking up Elendil's broken sword. Sorry, I almost forgot their names there for a second. But that is a brand new piece that was created just for this set, again, as part of that weapons pack. So I'm just going to pull the statue out. This is the alternate face that was on the other statues. But that is a brand new mold, and it's just a broken sword. You don't even get like a fixed sword. It's just the broken sword. That is so deluxe that Lego would make a new mold for a broken sword just because it's the sword that defeated Sauron. That's wonderful. That is, again, far more than I would have ever expected them to make. And this is probably my favorite interior detail in this set just because of how much attention was put into it. Oh, and I almost forgot one last interior detail. We do have this beautiful dark blue banner that's hanging off in the corner, which is why I almost missed it. That is another sticker, but I really like the design on it. And lastly, we have the Armory Forge Gazebo combination section. Oh, and River, of course. I know that this video is getting very long, so thank you if you're watching it all the way through. But this is the most natural section of the build. The nature of Rivendell really, really shines here. And I mean, this is a little bit more rustic, you know, it feels a little bit more countryside than the like royal palace vibes that the elf pavilion gives me. So here's a quick look around it. You can see that there are interior details, but of course we're going to start with the exterior because that's really what most of this section is about. So starting with the river, this is built in a very beautiful manner. There is a little waterfall at the top made using windshield pieces, which is really successful. There's a bunch of rounded white pieces creating some nice foaming water, which really adds a sense of motion to this section, which I definitely appreciate. There's a teal plate, like a large teal plate underneath all of that water, which helps to bring out the bluish tones. And of course, there's more like froth at the edges of it. And this does look like it's, you know, positioned on a waterfall. It looks like it's just about to fall straight down. So I really do like that. And this bridge is a great build as well. It's mostly built separately and then just plugged into place. But there are a bunch of studs on it to pose figures. I would have liked a couple of more, to be perfectly honest. Like, I could have done with some studs like on these edges as well. But the overall effect is pretty successful. And there are a whole mess of stone steps. So you can take a bunch of stone steps down into this area by the forge, or you can take some stone steps up into the gazebo. And the gazebo is actually another removable section, just like the Council of Elrond. It's not attached with any studs. You can just pull the thing straight off and display it separately. This is, without a doubt, one of the most beautiful things I've ever had the pleasure of constructing out of Lego. I'm going to say it once more. It feels like a MOC. There are life preserver rings making up this roof. There are the scroll pieces from elves. There are the elephant tusks, and they're all supported by these stick-thin, like, candle pieces. And then you've got fangs creating these beautiful, delicate little arches. This thing was, again, fiddly to put together. It was, like, anxiety-inducing to line everything up. It stressed me out. I still feel like it's not perfect. There's still things I want to tweak, but I just have to resist. But it's so beautiful when it's done. Like, holy cow, like, it's so good. I mean, this isn't centered exactly. Oh, that's going to bother me. But yeah, it's amazing. And I mean, like, even just looking at it from the top down, like, that is just incredible. Inside the gazebo, you do have, again, one of those little, like, seat cushiony things for Aragorn and Arwen to chillax on. I think that that's supposed to be a cushion, at least. I mean, I don't think it's a bench. I do think it's supposed to be, like, a little lounging bed, like something like the Romans would sit on while they were eating grapes in togas. But yeah, I think the worst part about this gazebo would just be the light gray pieces, because they stick out a little bit. I mean, again, I don't think that they're bad, because I mean, they kind of match the base, but if those were in white, I guess it would be absolutely perfect, but that's just me finding something to nitpick because the rest of this thing is so amazing. We have more mushrooms down here, and these pieces are actually glow in the dark. I'm not going to give you guys a demonstration because, I mean, you guys know how glow in the dark pieces work. The cones are glow in the dark. The mushroom caps are obviously not because they're sand green. But we do have even more mushrooms sticking out of the trees, which, again, very nice technique. I love that. Very simple, but it looks great. We do have the entrance to the armory in the corner, which more brick-built detailing and archways looks great. And then this is the forge. It's really small, honestly, a little bit smaller than I expected, which isn't a bad thing. I'm just saying that they really compress the detail into a small space. And then we do have the anvil with another one of those Aragorn sword molds. And then there are a couple of tools, a shovel and a hammer, and then you do have this little lantern outside. I do really like the nougat color of the ground here because it's very different from the dark tan aspects of the rest of the build. So it does stand out, and like I said, it just gives it a little bit more of a countryside rustic feel. I also like the trees here because they are different builds. They're similar to the trees in the A-frame cabin, which I still actually have not built, but they're a different color as well. Sand green for the big leaves, which I think might be new. I don't think I've ever seen that before. Olive green for the little ones, and then pearl gold as well. I really like these tree builds. These ones I like more than I expected, and then the big one I like less than I expected. And then the one at the back, again, has more autumnal foliage, but it looks really, really nice. And there's also the added detail down by the forge of the roots coming out of the hillside, which is a really great look. We do have a little bit of detail behind the waterfall as well, with a bunch more mushrooms and a little frog. And it's a little bit hard to see inside the armory, but the good thing is that when you remove the gazebo, it lets a ton of light in. So there is a bunch of detail inside. You've got racks of weapons. You do have a little spinning sharpening stone. There's another sting on a bench here. Of course, sting was just a regular short elven blade. And then there is a lantern in the wall. And I'm going to go ahead and pull those weapon racks out so that you guys can see the rest of those battle pack pieces. Here they are. You've got a bow, which is not part of the battle pack. You have another one of Boromir's fat swords. Then you do have a couple more axes for Gimli. And then you've got an elven blade. This piece is epic. It is so cool. Again, it's very delicate. I really like the textured grips on all of these weapons. And it's such a delicate curve, and it's just beautiful. I'm really, really happy with these new weapons that LEGO developed for the Lord of the Rings theme. And I really hope that we see them reused in playsets soon. I will say the only thing I don't like about these weapons is the axe, because it has a grip at the top and a grip at the bottom, but minifigures can't actually hold on to this section of the shaft. I don't like that. I wish that it was just bar sized the whole way through, because I want my minifigures to be able to hold a weapon like anywhere along its hilt. I don't really see the point of making this just slightly too small for a minifigure to hold. Here are all of the extra pieces for Rivendell. There are a ton of them, but the coolest ones are definitely the extra one rings, and then again the extra shattered Narsil. I'm skipping the box because it's gigantic. I showed it in the unboxing, and it's just a regular LEGO Icons box. Let's not waste more time on that. You have 3 manuals, one for the tower, one for the right side of the build, and then one for the middle section. It was a little bit of a weird building order. Like, I don't know why we didn't just go left to right. But what I really wanted to show you guys, oh, here are the spent sticker sheets. I wanted to show you guys how there weren't a lot of stickers, but I forget to show them half the time. But there's a timeline of all of the Lord of the Rings sets in here, or not all of them, but like some of the most important ones, which I think is a really, really nice inclusion. And as I said previously, there are these little call outs as you build that just give you a little bit of information about the set. Well, that's officially a wrap on Rivendell. Thank you guys so much if you stuck all the way to the end for what is surely my longest review ever. I had a blast building this set. I love it so much. Like I said, it is one of my favorite LEGO sets of all time. In terms of value, I do think $500 is fair. I mean, the build doesn't quite seem $500 worth at first, but once you've actually completed it, it is really heavy, it's dense, there's so much detail, and the minifigures, the printed pieces, everything, the new molds, everything that LEGO poured into this set, it does make the $500 worth it. Like, honestly, like, this should be the one set that you save up for and buy, even if you would never ordinarily buy a $500 LEGO set. As I said at the start of this video, this is going to be my last LEGO review. They just take a lot of time, and I kind of just want to get back to building and not do reviews as much. So I won't be doing any more in the future, but please check out my Instagram for pictures of my new builds, and maybe I'll still try to post pictures of them on like YouTube in the community tab or something like that. I will have a couple more videos coming out, a comparison of Rivendell and a comparison of the Lord of the Rings minifigures, so please watch those as well. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and check out my website, goldenninja3000.com, and I'll see you guys with more videos soon. Bye for now.